Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 110 is brought to you by Amarok44, one of our newest Patreon patrons. Today, Sergio and I are answering the weekly questions for the 100-day countdown, discussing the recent Animal Crossing New Horizons renders, and building out our holiday wish list for Nintendo. So to begin, hello Sergio, I'm looking right at you.
Hi Chewy, it's good to see you.
Yeah. So in case you don't know, Sergio and I are actually recording in the same room right this moment. A rare occurrence. We actually have never done this, so it's gonna be interesting. So how you been, Sergio?
Good. It's been really good week again. Still because I'm still playing Pokemon. Well, I'm playing Shield now, so I'm playing the game the right way now, and it's just as fun as I remember the previous Pokemon games being. So it's amazing. It's been a great week. What about yourself?
Yeah, that sounds good. I've been good. I mean, we drove out 10 hours to get here to California
Oh wow.
yesterday, so it was good. I think I need those days where I'm just like pretty unplugged because I find after a
Mm.
while I'm just like looking at my phone too much, looking at my computer too much, and that's what I do at work too. So
Oh yeah.
I like getting a day where I'm just like I can't look at anything. I'm driving. I'm just talking to
Yeah.
Jackie and listening to music and podcasts and that sort of
Oh
thing.
nice.
But I am happy that you're playing Pokemon the regular way instead
Yeah.
of just a single score bunny to take down the entire thing. um, but yeah, I'm really hoping I can get a lot of gaming time in this week. I played Pokemon for literally 2 minutes today. So progress being made for sure. But I really want to, I guess, outside of like getting through some games, I just want to play some games. I feel like I don't get enough time to just have
Mm.
fun and
Yeah.
sit around sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've got the week off, and that should be a lot of fun.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so, I didn't write this in the notes, but I did want to check in with you recently. I think it was a couple episodes ago that we made our predictions for when the Animal Crossing Direct would be.
Ah yes.
And I'm not gonna like bash you for getting it wrong, because I feel like there was still some decent news, even though like the direct didn't happen.
Right.
We've been slowly getting like drip fed these little
Yeah.
tastes from like random sources lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean it's interesting to see that like none of this is coming out of Nintendo of America though. Like
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, because the first thing was, of course, from Mexico. They had an event over in Mexico, and it was Nintendo of Latin America. And we got some new screenshots that showed off some cool new stuff. And then after that, there was this kind of a giveaway that Spain was doing, Nintendo of Spain.
Mhm.
And it showed off a lot of new character renders. And then out of nowhere just dropped a bunch of renders from the game,
Yeah.
which we're going to go over a little bit later, but I think you were spot on with like just the date of when news was going to start pouring out. So thank you
Oh,
for
nice.
bringing us news. um, yeah, I'm still in the running though for the
Yeah,
direct.
yeah.
I think I said January 15th, a regular Nintendo Direct, followed by an Animal Crossing dedicated Direct, February 20th.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, I mean, I always hope they're gonna be sooner, but, like, just looking at the schedule, I think those are still good times. Pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think it's gonna be very beneficial for Nintendo to have a regular direct in January because they have been very quiet. And like we've said before, there was no big release this December. So the sooner we hear from them, the better. I think people are starting to ask, okay, what's gonna be for next year besides Animal Crossing? So it's the earlier they can talk to us, the better, I think.
Yeah, and it's getting to that point where I always see these tweets about like, we're talking about fruit, about noses, about all of these like little tiny details in Animal Crossing, and all of these tweets are like, when you know that Animal Crossing fans are desperate for news.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a real bummer to see that like this is all we really have to get excited about because there's nothing else going on. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping they should fix it. They should fix it soon, and it's coming.
Yeah, and it's an interesting way of getting information out there if this is being done on purpose, which no Nintendo probably is. So, we'll take whatever we get.
Yeah, yeah, and we are.
Yeah.
We're currently doing that. We're just getting as much as possible. Cool. So, before we get too into the renders, we are going to go ahead and answer the day 93 through 87 questions on the 100-day countdown. So, the first question is, of course, day 93, when we were 93 days away from this game. It was, tell us your favorite villager species. And I'm actually wondering what yours is, Sergio.
This used to be a very difficult question because I have a lot of species that I like a lot. So it was very tough. But honestly, thanks to none other than Pocket Camp, I have a pretty easy answer now. And it is actually the cubs, the bear cubs. Because I had a lot of really good friend cubs in Pocket Camp, in my campsite. The ones that you can ask to be in your campsite. I definitely prioritize the cubs. So I like them a lot. Easy answer now.
Yeah, I love the Cubs. There are so many really cute ones, and the series just like always does a really great job of switching up the designs and everything, so they're really cute.
Yeah.
For me, in the past, I would have said cats. No surprise there if you know me. I love cats. And mostly like just the designs. There's so many different cats, and they've definitely like fleshed out those characters a lot to the point where you're like, what else could they possibly do with cats?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I've recently become a huge fan of the koalas, and
Mm,
I just don't know what it is about them. They're really cute to me. They have like
yeah.
these really huge features, like their giant ears and noses and eyes on their body, and they just have little tiny bodies.
Yeah.
And usually like I'm not a huge fan of like the googly eyed like over huge features on like I guess plush dolls and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it just works with me with the koalas. I don't know what it is, but I think they're really cute, and I I like the different colors they have. I love that all
Yeah.
of their names are very like Australia based names.
Yeah.
If you ever see the English names for them, at least they feel like they're just places in Australia.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, the koalas, and I guess a little story for why they became some of my favorites. So there's this little green koala named Lyman or Lehman. I don't really know. I always called him Lyman, but he moved into my New Leaf town pretty early on in the game, and I liked him. Well, at first I was like, oh, he's all right. I don't know how I feel about him, but after like getting like talking to him all the time, I was just like, man, you're the man, Lyman. I really liked him. And so, yeah, just like over time, the koalas have just won me over. So that's why I like them.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So for day 92, our question was our favorite town fruit. And let me tell you about this one because I've gone on a journey with this one. My
Yeah.
very first town, which was on the GameCube, of course, it had peaches. And I was blown away the day I found out you could have different fruit because it was essentially like that was the only town I'd ever seen that, and I had peaches, and then all of a sudden I want to say somebody sent me another fruit in a letter, and I was like, wait, what? There are different fruit in
Oh.
this game? So that blew my mind. I didn't know that there were different
Yeah.
fruits.
Yeah.
I guess I should have because I'd like seen the intro and stuff, and I'm pretty sure they show different fruit trees in those intros.
Yeah.
But I didn't know they were like I could have them in the game. Anyways, I planted. I think it was I want to say it was a pear or something, but I planted it and it
Hmm.
didn't grow, so I never got another
Oh
fruit
no.
tree. But I think I had peaches for all that time. I don't remember what I had really in between there, but I knew by New Leaf I wanted cherries. That's what I was going for, the
Right.
cherries.
Right.
And so, I spent the whole first day resetting my town a million times, trying to find the layouts, finding the perfect fruit and everything. And eventually I found that and I got my cherries. And now that we've had so long with New Leaf,
Mm.
and I've had cherries in my town forever. I'm ready for something different. So I think I'm going back to Peaches. I kind of
Oh,
want to
nice.
go to that classic first gameplay that I had.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think Peaches are my favorite right now. I'd be okay with apples. I'd probably be okay with cherries still, but because I do really actually like cherries a lot, and hence the reason I wanted them for so long.
Oh, nice.
But no, I think Peaches are my favorite.
Cool, cool. Are you thinking, are you gonna be resetting again?
Yes, I'm gonna reset a lot. I've thought about like I love that feeling of like what you see is what you get at the beginning of Animal
Hmm.
Crossing, but I feel like I'm gonna treat the rest of my game like that.
Oh, that's a
S-
good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so and since because like I don't want to really like dictate where my villagers move into because it is going to be an option in this one where
Hmm.
they move in, you can pick where they stay, and I don't really want to do that. Like I want the only time that I really dictate what I go for is the very beginning when I decide on my island.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna
Mm.
reset a lot for that reason, but it's also like me just being interested because we've seen so little. I want to see the variety in all of the islands and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna reset till I mean one day I'll have peaches.
All right. Cool. Cool. Well, for me, it is apples. Still, I had apples in New Leaf. I think I had apples in my town in City Folk as well. I don't remember the ones before, but definitely City Folk and New Leaf. And I feel like it's the de facto tree fruit. And it's, it offers a nice contrast between the red of the fruit and the green of the tree. And honestly, I want apples again. I'm gonna go with whatever the town gives me at first, but I'm really hoping it's apples. I, I see your point about, well, I had so many apples for so long, in Uli, but even so, I really hope I get them.
Yeah, and I was always really jealous of the Apple design too, because they were by far the best for the perfect fruit. Like
Ah,
the
yes.
perfect apples just looked so good that I was like, oh man, why would you not want apples in this game? It felt like the one to go with in at least New Leaf, but I don't know. We haven't seen like perfect fruit at all yet, even
Right.
with the new renders that we're gonna go over a little bit later. So we're not sure if they're coming back, but personally,
Hmm.
I think they will, just based on how this game already seems like it's really going to be fleshed out and have a lot.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, the apples, they look great. And also, I agree with just like the contrast of the green and the red
Yes.
together. It just looks so good. Cool. Okay, so day 91, we had another question, and that was, what is your favorite river fish? And yeah, which ones do you like, Sergio?
Mine is the Dorado.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's really big. I kind of like it's so rare. I always felt like you are actually catching a fish that's pure gold. You do get a bunch of good bells for it too. So it looks very fancy. It looks nice. It's big. It's rare. I like it.
Yeah, and it is like worth gold because you sell it for so much too.
Yeah.
So it's always like one of those catches that is worth getting. If only, you know what? Here's the thing. I would probably choose that one in New Horizons if you actually like saw sparkles coming out of the water when it
Oh,
was swimming around.
oh.
That would be awesome.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. So my favorite, it's not quite gold, but it does kind of have gold in it as well,
Oh.
but it is the pop-eyed goldfish. And I just love this fish. I love how weird it looks with its bulgy eyes, and it's kind of like really, I don't know. I guess I'm really into the big eyes thing right
Hmm.
now, even though usually I'm not. But regardless, though, I think the pop-eyed goldfish is just a fun little different fish than the regular goldfish.
Yeah.
I like the new color that it has, the black color versus the, I guess, gold color. um, but yeah, it's just whenever I get one, I'm just happy to see its big eyes looking at me, and I
Nice.
and I don't have the heart to sell them a lot of the time. I do, But for a long time, I would just put them in my home,
Mm.
and so I'd have like a pop-eyed goldfish in every room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because they're cute. They go in a little bowl. It's
Oh, nice.
adorable.
Cool.
All right, so the day 90 question was design a new public works project. And I'll be honest, I was driving. So I did, and packing and doing all sorts of things to get ready to come here. But so I didn't have time. I didn't have time to draw one. So there's
Mhm.
no art piece from me this time. But I do have an idea.
Mm.
And my idea is that I would create a watermill. And
Oh,
this the watermill is kind of that like wooden round wheel thing that gets
yeah.
pushed by the water and creates some sort of energy
Yeah. Hmm.
as it goes, because one, I do really like that as kind of an environmental source of energy.
Yeah. Hmm.
But then two is just like we've never had kind of a way, or I guess items that we could place in the water outside of
Oh,
bridges. Like
yeah.
we could put bridges that took us over them, but there was really no way to decorate the water or really add more features to it.
Yeah.
And so I would like that. I would like to have methods of dressing up the river a little bit more. Like,
Yes.
I guess I also thought of doing like little paper boats that you could put in the water and follow down. But
Oh,
but yeah, watermill I felt like was a little bit easier to put up as a project just
right.
because it can sit there. A paper boat, it gets to the ocean, it drowns.
Yeah.
It drowns at sea. It's over for that paper boat. But the mill seems like it's a good thing to put that'll last a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I love that idea.
Yeah. So what was yours, Sergio?
So for me, I drew, or not really. I designed a bridge, but it's actually made out of glass. And if we do get something like that in New Horizons, I would really want it to be very, very sparkly. It would look very shiny, almost like crystal. It would look nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do like that you have your little rendering here of it and that you use like an actual location from uh the game
Yeah.
from New Horizons. So I think it's a really cool look. It makes me feel like it's very it gives me kind of like an icy feel too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um but yeah, no, I think that's really cool. I want to see that. I want to see different kind of materials come out, and like glass, if we can collect sand or something, like
Mm.
it would be cool if we could make glass out of stuff,
Yeah.
or at least use some material to turn it into a certain type of item. So
Yeah. Yeah. And we can make it out of Gorilla Glass so it breaks even less.
yeah, that's true. You don't want that thing breaking while people are walking
Yeah.
over. Especially if they don't have their pole vault on them.
Oh yeah.
They'll be stuck. But oh, man, that's an interesting concept now, because we're gonna have like flimsy items that will break.
Yeah.
Hopefully, none of our things that we craft
Oh
break.
yeah.
I want them to last, especially because like you're going for a certain look in a town. It would be a bummer if that
Oh, I
broke, and
know.
then you
Yeah.
just have to go and craft it all over again. But I guess it just keeps you playing.
That's that's a great approach to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so question 89 is your favorite diving catch. And this one took me a while, but what was yours, Sergio?
Oh, mine was easy. I want the scallop because whenever you get one, you are guaranteed some great life advice from Pascal. So why wouldn't you want it? You get the scallop and you get advice, and it's always really good advice.
You know, you're right. That is a really good option just with Pascal, he's come up in different ways throughout the series, but it wasn't till that new leaf where we had the swimming and were able to dive where he popped up in such a very Pascal way where he's just kind of, he's probably sitting around just lounging about, and then you dive down, get a scallop, and he's like, oh, whoa, I better go check out what this guy's got going on because I want one of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do really like how he pops up. Mine took a while just because for some reason I couldn't think of the name of it. I knew exactly what I wanted, and for a bit I was
Mm.
calling it the wrong thing. But I love the spider crab. and it's just this really giant crab with long creepy legs,
Yeah.
like a daddy long legs or
Yeah.
something. But it's just amazing to me whenever I catch one and swim back up, and I'm like, whoa, what am I carrying? That thing could kill me. Because it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge crab. And so I really like it for its size, its creepiness, and just the fact that you go down and just grab one
Yeah.
from the water. I would be afraid to do that in
Yeah.
real life. All right, so question 88. This is our second to last, so we're getting close. And this one's a fun one. What was your favorite villager dialogue?
Mm. Well, for me, it's actually whenever two villagers sort of engage in a conversation between themselves, and you're kind of there just listening, and they have a lot of different stories. So most of them are pretty funny. And then out of nowhere, one of them asks for your opinion. Hey, do you agree with me? Do you think I'm right or wrong? What do you think about this? And, regardless of your choice, it's always a really funny outcome. And I just really like when they get so into their conversations and then they involve you too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love those. And I think they started popping up more. They've always been in the game, but I feel like
Hmm.
in City Folk they started popping up more. Have they always been in the game? I don't even remember now at this point.
No,
Um,
it's tough.
yeah, but yeah, those interactions are always really great where you could just see your villagers and how they hang out together. I
Yeah.
think that brings a lot of life to it, and you're like, oh yeah, so I'm not the only one who can talk to these animals. They can talk to each other too.
Yeah.
They all speak animalese. um, so mine, there's some really great pieces of dialogue from the first game, and the ones that I really liked were very, I guess, unique and just phrases that I hadn't heard before, but made perfect sense to me. But I don't remember which villager I had who said this, but they were talking about something that made them really angry, and the way they said it was, that really steams my broccoli. And so you see, like, their little puff of smoke coming out of their head
Yeah.
because they're angry in that moment. But that's how they put, like, I'm really angry right now, like I'm heated and it's making me boil this pot and I got broccoli in it. And so I don't know, the whole image of it just makes me smile. It's a really funny way to think about being angry. um, so yeah, that really steams my broccoli. That was my favorite. I really don't remember who said it, but it was just one of those pieces of dialogue that really stood out to me because I was like, I've never heard this, but I get it and I love it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Our last question for this week is bug off or fishing tourney?
Mm.
Sergio, I know my answer. And I used to like fishing more, but now I think I'm 100% in on liking bug catching more than fishing.
Mm.
And I'll tell you why. There's just like to me at least, it feels like there's a bigger variety and challenge to catching bugs because there's some conditions that you have to meet in order for some bugs to appear. Like New Leaf had
Right.
ones where you were like, oh, you have to have like a blue or purple flower in your town for the peacock butterfly
Yeah.
to exist in it. Or you had to have a stump in your town because this bug
Mm.
only
Mm-hmm.
showed up on the stumps and everything. And there were even ones that were like the pond skater that's like, oh, this one's just on the pond skipping around and you have to get it from the water.
Right.
And then there's even like the diving beetle too. That one has that. But just the variety of what you could catch was really fun to me. And then it's also like you can see them, versus like fishing. It's very repetitive, the action of
Yeah.
fishing to me, where you're walking up and down the river, you're walking across the shore, and just like your eyes are peeled to see if there's a shadow out there.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
the only shadows that are really recognizable as a certain thing that you're looking for is the sharks. Like
Yeah.
you'll see the fin popping out, and that addition was really cool to me because I was like, "Oh, cool! I can tell what I'm gonna catch,"
Yeah.
or it's gonna be one of those ocean sunfish, which aren't worth as much. But it did allow you to know what you're catching. So I do like that what you're chasing after in bug catching.
Yes,
And
definitely.
that it's not like just, you throw your line out, hopefully this is something new. Oh, it's not. I'm gonna, I guess, sell it.
Yeah.
um, but then I feel like once you see a bug that you've like never seen before, like you get right into the action right there. You have to
Mm,
act fast. You have to think about how you got to approach it. Like the ones on the trees could get scared away, so you have to be careful walking up to
yeah.
them. And or maybe it's like one of those really fast dragonflies, so you have to just like get right to it right now and start chasing it. Otherwise, it's getting away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the bugs, I just love that immediately the excitement begins when you see something that you've never seen.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. And for me, it is a tough choice. I do like both activities a lot, a really lot. But I'm actually gonna go with the bug off as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So in the big reason is because what you said, you actually see the bug, so you know what you're after, you know what you need to do if you have limitations or if you need to work fast or if you can take your time a little bit, you can see it and you know what you're gonna get, right? With fish, you don't really know. Like sometimes you can tell by the size of the shadow, but even so, you don't really know until you catch it. And another part is because with the bug off, it's more like an activity. It's like a challenge, it's like a tournament. But fishing for me, it's more about relaxing. So I do prefer fishing normally outside the tournament. Like I would rather fish instead of bug catch. But when it's tournament mode, I'm more interested in the bug off because it's more like action packed in a way.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really like what you're saying. I, w- I almost would go the other way in a tournament though, if I thought about it, just because like, oh, it's a mystery to everybody. But at the same time, like,
True.
the shadow thing where you can kind of tell after a while, I do like the nuance of that with fishing.
Hmm.
But I've played every game, so I've seen the shadow sizes change
Yeah.
over each game where I think the red snapper used to be a lot bigger of a shadow in older games,
Mm.
and then that changed and the sea bass turned into a large shadow,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah, I
kind of swapped
did.
and I was angry at first
Yeah.
because I was like, "What? Another sea bass? Like I thought
Yeah.
I was done with this life." Because you catch a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's why people make shirts out of that. um, but yeah, like every game, I feel like you have to learn the new shadows and everything, which I think it's fine. Like I said, I do really appreciate that aspect and feel like that little nuance to fishing is really cool. But I think the excitement, it just doesn't match up to seeing a
Yeah.
bug that you've never seen.
Yeah. That's true. Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of them for at least this week. And
Nice.
so, for everybody listening, congratulations. 87 days to go until this Animal Crossing
Yeah.
game is out. Amazing. I am so excited. And, you know, I guess we've got about a week left of this year, which means there's one more week to go before we enter the year of Animal Crossing.
Yes.
And there's got to be news pretty soon. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, everybody, we're not waiting too much longer after this. So let's go ahead and move into what we talked about a little bit earlier, but we've got some recent Animal Crossing New Horizons renders, and these were really mysterious. I still don't know really where they came from, but
Hmm.
somebody like tweeted at me that there were these renders and they were all posted in this Animal Crossing fan site, and I just don't know their origins, and it was even to the case of like, should I talk about this on YouTube? Because we're living now in a world where Pokemon is after people for leaking
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, well, I guess I didn't leak them. I'm just looking at them, and as a fan, I feel like I should be able to react and talk about them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I don't feel too worried about that, and overall, though, like these are a mystery. Honestly, a gift to us because I have no idea where they
Yes.
came from. Um, But I guess to go over them really quickly, we got about a few kind of, I guess, storybook images, I would call them, where, like, say you're just flipping through a picture book or something, and these are just like little scenes of characters in Animal Crossing.
Hmm.
Each of them has about two characters, and they have some different items and stuff going on. And then the others are just like renders of characters. And just the characters themselves. They're not like in a setting,
Right.
but they
Hmm.
do have some different clothing, some different things going on. So we're going to go ahead and go through them. Sergio, I want to know what you thought when you saw these.
Oh, I like them a lot. And honestly, it was a little bit jarring at first, like trying to determine if they were real or not. And when I saw KK Slider, I knew they were pretty much real. We still don't know, but I'm 90% sure they are. And we'll get to KK. But overall, these look very nice. They keep highlighting how exciting this new game is gonna be, and the little nuances, the little details that we pick up on, and they just making this game very special already. And it's giving us a preview of what's to come.
Yeah, and I felt the same way too. I was like, are these real? Are these actually what we're looking at here? But I'm really glad that like once you saw KK, you for sure knew these were real.
Yep.
And I'll say I leaned toward them being real just because just the earlier that day we had gotten some new, I guess, character renders from Nintendo of Spain.
Yes.
And so those character renders, some of them matched up with the new ones that we were looking at. So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I think these are legitimate. I think they are ones that we're going to see in the future. So still no idea where they're coming from, but I'm happy that we got them.
Yes. Hmm.
So let's go ahead and go through some of these. And Sergio, I actually wanted to start with you and your thoughts on KK Slider because as you all know, we have not seen any I guess special characters
Right.
outside of Tom Nook and then Timmy and Tommy, the Nooklings essentially. And KK Slider's render, this is the first we've seen of another special character existing in this game. So Sergio, run me through your reaction seeing him and your thoughts on him and everything. I want to know.
Well, my first reaction was pretty much excitement because it's really good to see him again. And then right away you kind of start seeing the differences, and to me the biggest, like the most striking difference right from the get-go is that he looks a little creamish. He doesn't look as white as he used to. He looks a little more texture. So I don't honestly, I'm not a big fan of the change, but I know I'm gonna get used to it. I know I'm still gonna love KK no matter what. But it's unusual. Like I wasn't expecting him to look that way. Like out of nowhere, really. Another thing is that it was cool to see that KK was the first special character that we saw besides Tom Nook in the Nooklings. Honestly, I was expecting Isabel before KK, so that was nice.
Yeah, that is really special because I mean, if we go back to at least our origins with the game, like KK is the guy who greets us at
Yeah.
this start. You know what? I have a question for you there. Like, did you know about KK Slider before playing this game or playing Animal Crossing for the first time?
That's a good question. No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, because I always wonder because like you run into him, he's the one
Yeah.
who essentially creates your file for Animal Crossing, the very first one. And then, yeah, I feel like I saw him and I was like, oh man, there's this cool dog.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I started playing the game. I never ran into him again and was like, I had gotten to that point where I forgot who KK
Yeah.
Slider was to some extent. And then all of a sudden, I just happened to be walking by my train station at after 8 p.m. on Saturday, and he's right there, and I was just like, oh, this dog. What happens if I talk to him? And then that's where the magic all begins with
Yes.
KK Slider. But I also really love that like immediately you're noticing differences about KK Slider. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw him and I was like, oh man, this is KK Slider in HD.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice too much. Like the color thing, I didn't know until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
So I guess what else have you noticed is different about his render and everything?
So the nose looks a little more narrow. That's a little. It could be the angle too, and especially also his feet. they kind of look flat. I don't know. Again, it could be the angle, but I think they kind of change him a little bit. Some of the people on Haken were also discussing that maybe the color is a little different because of the lighting, and it's more of a sunny island environment. So that could be true, but I think it's gonna be a little more creamy this time around, and it's probably on purpose, and that's totally fine. And the reason why when I saw him and I kind of realized no, these are pretty much authentic, is because if you look at his eyes, his left eye is a little more open. It's like it's taller a little bit, and his right eye is it's a little more closed. It's like he's giving like a very faint wink with his right eye. And if you look at official KK art or renders or even the amiibo, they always have that. The left eye is it's a little more taller or open. So when I noticed that, I said, "Oh, okay, this is legit."
Wow. Now I'm gonna look at all of them. That's cool. Yeah, no, I didn't know that, but like he's definitely, he's a guy with a lot of style, a lot of charisma and everything, especially when he's performing. So, no, that makes a lot of sense with him just giving you like that slight
Yeah.
wink. Yeah. I'm now that I'm looking at him a lot closer too, I love his look. I
Yeah.
think he's looking great. I can't wait to run into him on my island and start playing some music.
I know.
Have him start playing.
Hopefully March 21st, because that's the first Saturday.
Right. Oh my goodness, you are totally correct. Okay. Yeah, because you've complained about that in the past. That's
Yeah.
your one big gripe with New Leaf is that just like you can't see KK Slider right at the beginning.
Right.
It takes a lot of time to get to that. So, yeah, I'm surprised you didn't time travel. Yeah, but I guess you did have your 2 weeks off to really focus on the game.
Yeah.
And you'll have 2 weeks on this one.
Yes.
Man, I'm excited. All right. So let's go ahead. I think I've broken this down in several different ways, but the first thing I kind of pointed out on here was the new tool designs that we've seen for these characters. The most, I guess, we've only really seen, I would say, 5 tools. Usually I would say 4 is what I wanted to say, but I'm counting the Nook phone as a tool in this one. I think it's going to be like a
Oh.
pretty key role in the game.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the ones that we are seeing are the watering can, the Nook phone, a bug net, a fishing rod, and an axe. And the most interesting ones are definitely the bug net and the watering can to me. Mostly because we've seen kind of a more updated fishing rod before in a render, so
Mm-hmm.
that's not exactly new, but it is an update from, I guess, the flimsy rod, which maybe we haven't even seen the flimsy rod. um, and then the other item is the axe, which is recognizably the flimsy axe. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the model that we've gotten used to seeing from the treehouse. They used that the whole time. But the bug net is definitely different, like right away noticeably different, because we've thus far seen the flimsy one, which is more of a triangle shape
Yes.
and wooden, of course. But this one is
Right.
like, is it metal? What is the net made out of? It just looks like a much more intensive type of net, you know?
Yeah. I like it a lot more, pretty much from the get-go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the triangle one just because, like, oh man, it's triangle. I
Yeah.
don't get that. But yeah, the bug net is a really cool updated look, and then the watering can. We've seen a wooden watering can thus far, and this one it looks like it's a Fisher Price type of watering can. It
Yeah.
just looks like it's blue and yellow and has like a bright color to it and
Yeah.
kind of more of a plasticky look to it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then underneath they're watering some new flowers, which I think a lot of the comments I read on my video that kind of looked at all of these was that they're called hyacinths. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, there's some new flowers here, which we've seen now a couple new flowers. But yeah, I don't know. Well, it seems like I'm hoping that it means there's just going to be a huge variety to the tools that we craft.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
'Cause
In emphasis to them, like they're really showing a lot of villagers with the tools, so they're kind of maybe telling you in a way you're going to be using these a lot, and they're gonna look different because you're gonna be crafting different versions of them.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I guess if I scrolled up, we also get a look at the pole vault, some of the saw and hammer for crafting, and then
Mhm.
another look at the axe just laying next to some wood. Um, But yeah, yeah, it seems like the tools are going to be a big part of your gameplay because
Mhm.
we've already seen that kind of come true with the axe, for example. Like you pick up some sticks that you find on the floor, a rock or something, and then you go over to Nooks and you craft those items into an axe. And then that axe unlocks some other crafting materials essentially, like you start
Yes.
chopping the tree, you get some different types of wood, and then all of a sudden, so it seems like this crafting business, this whole system, it's going to have a lot of depth. It's going to have a lot of stuff that is going to be unlocked as we get the materials for stronger and stronger tools, right?
Yeah.
So that's exciting to me. It's really exciting that like we're scratching the surface with this. Like
Yeah.
I'm just putting out ideas here, and already I feel like these ideas are going to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, after that, I also wanted to point out just like there are tons of bags and backpacks on these characters.
Yes.
I want to say, does every character here have a bag or a backpack? I think there's like three that don't,
Mhm.
which is insanity. It seems like they definitely added a wallaby that has a backpack shop and it's going to expand your inventory. Just putting that out there because it's a good idea. um, but yeah, all of these bags. And I wanted to ask you, Sergio, like, are you feeling like, are these going to unlock more inventory space? Does it give you that impression?
Yes, I think so. I really definitely hope so. It would be nice, even if they're just aesthetic, just for looks. But having more storage just by having any kind of bag, you could even switch them around and you still get the extra storage. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and the weird thing about them is like some of the backpacks, for example, the one that stood out to a lot of people most is just like this bag that carries logs.
Yes.
And so the kind of log carrying backpack it's unique. It makes people feel like, are we going to have certain bags that do certain things? Like, is this one specifically for collecting wood or is it specifically for crafting materials, you know?
Mm,
Because we've also seen ones that have like the fish on them,
yes.
like the fish symbol.
Mhm.
And so does that fish symbol indicate that like, oh, this is extra storage for catching fish when you do catch them? Because that's the one, I guess the one flaw I would say Animal Crossing has had pretty consistently, just like managing inventory in the game
Yes.
is a hassle. And, you get used to it after a while. You got used to your 15 slots that you had to store things, but you had to be creative with how you use those because you're carrying tools, you're doing certain things, and you had to always be managing it to do the job that you wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah. So the bags, I'm hoping that it's pointing toward a system where we just have more ability to store things.
Yes. Mhm, mhm.
Especially because, and I guess I don't have an image of this, but I think back to opening the inventory in the game. We've seen kind of the bubble that pops up. And
Yes.
along the bottom, there's there's a lot of room for menus to scroll through different things.
Mm, mhm.
So I would expect there to be open up different compartments in the future as we play the game. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot that this game could do to really improve some of the stuff that has been limited thus far.
Yes. Mhm.
Cool. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was layered clothing, and this is exciting
Yes.
because this seems like we're going to have a lot more options for how we customize our characters and really express ourselves. So, going from the first image, we've seen this. There's a girl in overalls and I guess kind of a plaid shirt, like blue overalls and a plaid red shirt. And
Mhm.
we've seen this outfit before. This one actually showed up, I think, in the first trailer. We saw this outfit. But the one thing we've also seen in that first trailer is the same shirt without the overalls. So this gives me the impression the overalls are going to be an option that you can put over the actual clothing that you're wearing. Like you can just
Yes.
wear it over a lot of different things. And then the other thing we see is a character with a shirt, kind of a plaid shirt tied around their waist. It's very 90s, very grunge,
Yes.
which is cool. I'm into that look a lot. um, but yeah, like, is this going to be a new way that we can wear our clothing? Like maybe we can take our long sleeves and say, oh, I don't want to wear it as a shirt. I want to just wear it around my waist. Because we've kind of seen those options pop up in other games where you could use a pattern in a bunch of different styles, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I don't know. How are you feeling about that, Sergio?
It's very exciting. I've always really wanted more variety in the clothing and the accessories that you can get and the way that you can combine them. So, like you're saying, it would be very nice if you can design your clothing whichever way you want it to look, and then you can decide either to wear it as clothing or as an accessory. And that goes with layered clothing. Hopefully there's a lot of options. The more, the merrier for this.
Yeah, yeah. And, layers, they're just cool. I want to look
Yeah.
awesome. I want to be able to put on like a shirt and then put on a jacket over my shirt to kind of,
Yeah.
unzipped and show like a cool design on my shirt or something while I'm sporting an awesome jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially during the winter and things. I don't know. There's so many possibilities with what you could do with
Yeah.
layering clothing. So I hope we get that for sure. The next thing I wanted to mention was the new hairstyles. So we are seeing a lot of representation for people of color. We're finally getting a bunch of new hairstyles that
Yeah.
just didn't exist before. And I've talked about this. I hate whenever I would go to Harriet and I'd say, "Yeah, let's get my hair done." And then I answer all of her questions and then I come out looking like Guy Fieri. And I'm like, oh my goodness, who am I? Why is this my personality? And now it's just like, it seems like they've updated a lot of the hairstyles, made a bunch of hairstyles that are more contemporary while also keeping a lot of the classic Animal Crossing ones.
Mhm.
So I am excited about this. I feel like it's about time we get more than, what is there, 16 hairstyles per gender?
Mhm.
And then eventually, once you've gotten every single one of those hairstyles, you unlock the other ones.
Right.
So yeah, I think everybody's been looking for way more variety from what they get because, like a lot of people do their hair in different ways, and it is a huge way to express yourself. So, and it's a huge way to just capture who you are too. So, I am for it.
Yes, definitely. And I think you pointed out that we're also getting new hair colors, and I'm really really excited about that as well.
Yeah, are you gonna go with like different colors? Because I feel like I'm very basic. I go with the basic dark brown option for me.
Yeah, no, me too. But it's very nice to see other players with other hairstyles, other colors. Yeah, I'm a stickler for my regular dark brown hair.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of people go with really fun, colorful colors,
Yeah.
like not the bright ones that aren't natural hair colors in Pokemon. And I see them and I'm like, man, they look awesome. They just look really cool.
Yeah.
And like I have a friend and her character has pink hair. Or it's kind of like lavenderish, but I'm like, man,
Ooh.
your character looks great.
Yeah.
I love it. So I don't know why I don't explore the hair color options too much, but I don't know. I just don't know. But I do really love the colors when I do see them on other people.
Yes. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, the next thing we see is just some little things. We mentioned the new flowers, but the other thing was new bugs. Um,
Mm.
actually, okay, no, yeah, we'll talk about bugs real quick because I did want to make a couple predictions based on these things. But the new bug, and I've put bugs, but it's really just a bug, but it's a butterfly, which I don't think is one that we've had in the game thus far. I
Hmm.
thought it was like a peacock butterfly or a Rajah Brook, but I think that it is a different design. It is something new. So this is pointing to us having just new collectibles. And one of the big things is the museum in every game, which we still haven't seen, but I feel like we've got to get it.
Yeah.
There's just like the whole encyclopedia of looking through all the things. It'd be perfect as an app on your Nook phone. So I feel like it just makes sense to have that. So I don't know, man. I How are you feeling about like seeing new bugs and fish and things we can catch?
Oh, it's awesome because that just means more value to the game, more longevity. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they have ever taken out either fish or bugs or things that you can collect. Maybe there's been like a few exceptions, but I don't see why they would. So just seeing new ones, that means we're getting new ones, and the old ones should all come back. So it's gonna be more things to get in the museum, more things to catch. So more gameplay.
Yeah, and they actually have taken out some, and
Oh,
there's ones in Population Growing on the GameCube that haven't returned, but there are kind of some reasons behind it. Like for example, there's three fish that one's like a small bass, one's just a bass, and then there's like a large bass. So they're all the same fish,
oh.
just different sizes, but they're counted differently in your encyclopedia in the game.
Oh, nice.
So there are those, but beyond that, like there aren't too many that have disappeared, but I think there are a few more.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, I think you're right. Definitely, like we should be expecting more stuff to collect versus them like deleting some to make room for
Right.
others.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like there are definitely going to be just a lot of new ones to catch, and I hope they do different designs for a lot of them for like the tanks and the I guess what would you call the enclosures for a bug that you keep,
Yeah.
whatever those are. But yeah, just when you put them inside your house and display them, I hope we get a cool new way to display them for
Oh,
each
yeah.
fish and bug.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, so the last thing I want to do with these I guess kind of screenshots is I want to make a couple predictions because we are getting like a vast amount of new hairstyles and probably some new flowers and everything, but my prediction is that when we see characters like Harriet and Leaf, characters that have in the past kind of introduced some new greenery, some new hairstyles for us to get. I think they're going to really be focused on unlocking our options for stuff because I have a feeling we're going to have some like pretty basic hair options and eye options and all sorts of things with our characters when we start.
Hmm.
But it isn't till like maybe Harriet visits our town one day and she's like, "Oh, I'm doing some haircuts here. It costs this much." And you can go to her and be like, "Oh, there are all these new styles that I can try out while she's here, you
Hmm.
know?"
Hmm.
So I have a feeling those characters are going to be really aimed at doing still the similar thing, but growing all of the new stuff that we have been able to do, you know?
Right. Gotcha. That would be a nice way to slowly, like, sort of daily be introducing the special characters and whatever unlockable they're related to.
Yeah, yeah. I would love just to, like they're supposed to be the masters of their craft, you know?
Yeah.
So show us what the masters can do and give us all the cool new stuff. And maybe don't limit us from only having one haircut a day. Because
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you just want to experiment and try
Yeah.
a bunch of different things. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's it for these renders. Let's go ahead and move into creating our Nintendo slash Animal Crossing wish list. So, as you all know, it is Christmas Eve, but it's also Toy Day here in Animal Crossing. So, we figured it's time to make our wish list for, I guess, not Santa, but Jingle, the black-nosed
Yes.
reindeer. um, and so Sergio and I, we came up with a few Animal Crossing items for our wish list and a few just general Nintendo items that we'd like. So Sergio, we'll go back and forth on these. What is your first, I guess, item on your wish list for Animal Crossing?
The very first one, the biggest wish, is a limited edition original Switch, the regular Switch, not the Lite, that is Animal Crossing New Horizons themed. I really, really want one.
Yes, I was gonna put this on my list, but I was like, oh well, Sergio's asking for it. We can't double up. We got to get as much out of this as possible.
That's true.
um, yes, I want that for sure. That is, I am starting to work on my setup for like more streaming and doing more YouTube stuff,
Mm.
and I'm gonna need a second dock for that, and I'm like, well, I might as well just buy another Switch if that's the case.
Nice.
So I might as well just buy one that's Animal Crossing themed
Yeah.
if I'm gonna buy a Switch. So, it's an easy equation.
Yeah.
It's simple math. um, but yes, I agree. I need that for sure. My first wish is a small but obvious one. I'm wishing for an Animal Crossing Direct.
Hmm.
I just I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't need to see any more info." And I'm like, "Okay, then you don't watch it." I need something at this point. Like I don't want them to be quiet anymore. Just give me the news. I feel like Animal Crossing is not really a game that can be spoiled, you know?
Hmm.
Um but I think we're going to have a bigger discussion on that idea
Mm.
a little later. But yeah, I want an Animal Crossing Direct. Just give us that.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope it happens. I do think Animal Crossing it deserves its own direct, and it really helps a series like this to have its own specific direct. Like I said, I was surprised that Luigi's Mansion 3 didn't get one, but I think Animal Crossing needs one, and I think it is going to get one.
Yes, it does need one.
Yeah.
So what's your next Animal Crossing wish?
So I want them to either show or mention some free item distribution, or even if it's paid DLC, but I want them to talk about it either when the game comes out right at launch or really soon thereafter, hopefully within 2 weeks. I just want them to reassure players that we're gonna be getting new content, hopefully free. I'm okay with paid DLC, but I mean free would be way better, and that's how it was in New Leaf. So as long as they mention that and we're getting new items here and there, maybe even once a month or two a month, that'll be good. I want them to let players know what to expect.
Yes, I agree. I think my second one kind of falls in that vein as well, where I just want there to be regular updates to New Horizons, kind of like Splatoon, because
Yeah.
we do know like those studios, they're very huge. At least those developing teams for Nintendo, and they have to be huge to some extent to just kind of minimize the time it takes to make a lot of things,
Yeah.
but also minimize like the stress that you're putting on your workers. And luckily Nintendo's big and they have the resources to pay for that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of developers have that luxury. Money can be hard to come by when you're trying to hire people to make awesome things
Yeah.
like Animal Crossing. But we, a lot of the same people who work on Splatoon go back and forth, and there's a lot of similar influence in those games. So
Hmm.
I want to see like monthly updates for the game, like Splatoon. And I feel like that kind of goes along the line of your free item distribution, because I want it to be free.
Yeah.
Like Splatoon, they give us free stuff for like what, 2 years?
Yes. Yes.
That's amazing. That is so incredibly generous. And, granted, like, that's kind of their kickoff plan with Splatoon every time, where what did we have when that game first came out? 5 levels to play?
Yeah.
Now it's at like a million. It's at way more than
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So, like, Animal Crossing, just do that. Like, they kind of did that a bit in New Leaf. Like, there were items on a monthly basis, kind of monthly. It was a weird schedule. You really had to keep up with it
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
everything. But it was making the game like feel special, and it really adds to that real time feel to it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree. I feel like we just need regular updates
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Definitely.
free. Don't pay, I don't want to pay
Yeah. Yeah.
yet. All right. So what was your last Animal Crossing wish?
Well, the last one, and speaking of free, it would be a big expansion. You know how we got Welcome Amiibo for New Leaf? I want something like that for New Horizons, and I think by the end of next year, that would be a good time to either have it out or to talk about it. And it would be better if it's free, but in this case, it might be like if it's a considerable expansion, it might need to be paid. But I just want there to be something, like we have said We want something that is going to keep us coming back to this game. We already have it. We're going to be playing this for years, but if we're going to be waiting another 7 to who knows how many years for the next one, there's got to be something in between to change it up, really. We're going to be playing no matter what, but if it's a little bit different a couple of years into the game, even better.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely feel that too, because now, since this wait has been so long since New Leaf, like it's literally going to be 8 years in the making for this game, because New Leaf
And
first came out 2012 in
yeah,
Japan, and now the next game is coming out 2020. It's not quite 8 years. It's like 7.5 ish, but
right.
it's 8 years numbers wise
Yeah.
between those. So I'm just like, like it takes a long time to come up with all of these new ideas, ways to really make this game feel fresh and everything. And you can tell they're doing that with New Horizons. They're putting tons of new ideas into the game. So I expect them to avoid like a small City Folk style release where City Folk wasn't a very big push for the series. Like it didn't do too much new
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be aiming to do that with every Animal Crossing game because it's just kind of what's expected at this
Yeah.
point. um, but yeah, I think they need to start thinking about how they're going to feed us Animal Crossing content in this next 10-year wait for the
Yeah.
game. Which I keep saying 10 years because I don't like to get my hopes up
Yeah.
that the next game will be out in like 5 or so. But, that's very realistic. I
Yeah.
feel I feel like it does take that long to make a game like this feel fresh and new, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So my last, I guess, wish for Animal Crossing is I just want them to do an Animal Crossing concert tour
Oh.
in the US. Because I feel Japan gets all of these really
Yeah.
cool concerts for video game music, and I'm just like, come on, I want to see KK Slider on stage playing all these KK Slider songs. Give them to me.
Yeah.
And I know, Sergio, you probably want that
Oh
too.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and you probably live in a place that's closer, um, or that would probably be closer to a location where they'd actually host
Right.
something like that. So I'm like, yeah, I'll make a trip out here.
Yeah.
I'll come and I'll see KK Slider.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
I would want to see. Yeah, along with all the other musicians that are gonna pop up in New Horizons
Oh
that they
nice.
haven't told us
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
yet. Yeah. But yeah, I guess let's go into our last few wishes, which are Nintendo specific. What do you want to see from Nintendo? I guess what would you put on your wish list?
So, surprise, surprise, I'm in Pokemon mode. So, my first wish is I want a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, and I want it for the Switch. And the reason is because these games are actually, it's like Pokemon, but very, very difficult. It's actually challenging. So, I want a new one. I want one with the 3 new starters from the Galar region. And it's just gonna be very nice. They always have really cool, very heartfelt stories actually. So just getting a new one with a nice little upgrade on the graphics side because of the Switch. And again, it's like playing Pokemon with a challenge, and it's actually very difficult sometimes. So I'm definitely stoked for that.
Yeah, I love Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, and it's exactly because of that. Like they're tough
Yeah,
games, and if you want a really tough and or I guess tough Pokemon experience, that's the way to do it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, mine is one that I see a lot of people ask for, and I'm definitely on that train with them. But Pikmin 4,
Mm,
I just want more Pikmin. I always really enjoy the games, and I really liked Pikmin 3, but just the experience of it on the Wii U hardware felt clunky and kind of not well thought out to me. It felt like it forced gamepad stuff, and I'm just like, yeah,
oh,
I just want and just give me Pikmin. I can gyro control aim,
yeah,
and that'd
yeah.
be fine. And because I do it in Splatoon pretty easily, like I play with motion kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Pikmin 4, that's what I want. What's your
Cool,
next one?
cool. So next for me, I'm sorry, another Pokemon game. I really want a remake of Diamond and Pearl. And if you go by the remake series, basically like the side games that they keep going back to older games, these are the next ones. And I think, let's see, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I believe there was a little bit of a hint towards Diamond and Pearl. So, or you know what, it might have been in the Let's Go games, actually. So
Oh.
that's even more recent. So I really think it's a matter of just waiting for these. I think they're gonna be awesome. These games have my favorite gaming soundtrack. So just getting it revamped or orchestrated, it's gonna be amazing.
Yes, that's always really fun just to hear the updates to the music and
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, this is a popular choice. I think it needs to happen. I Gen 4 is one that I've wanted to go back to for a long time
Hmm.
because the way I played it ruined the experience for me.
Oh,
I guess it didn't like ruin it, but it did leave me feeling like I did I was annoyed. I was annoyed when I played that game, the way I played it. So now I'm just like, all right, I need to revisit this because I feel like I look at it unfairly
mm,
as
mm.
like one specific thing that bugged me, and it was mostly on me. So
Right.
because I do think back to some of the stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I do want to experience that again.
Hmm. Gotcha.
Okay, my next one is WarioWare game. I want
Ah.
WarioWare. I've always loved mini games in Mario Party, and micro games in WarioWare just take them to the next level. It's so fast, it's quick, it's hilarious. The art style is off. It's off. I don't even know where it's off. It's just gone some different direction and you
Yeah.
don't even know. So I love WarioWare. I think they're fun. I think they're hilarious. And I just want something charming, casual, non-stressful. Even though it can be a little stressful, those games get fast.
Yeah, yeah, and you know those are a lot of fun for single player, but also for multiplayer. And with the Switch, with share the Joy-Con really easily, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna make all sorts of things crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're on our last ones, right?
Yes, my last wish list for from Nintendo for next year is either a new Super Mario Strikers game, like the soccer game that we had one for the GameCube, one for the Wii. It would be great to have one on the Switch, or if I cannot get that, maybe a Mario Golf game on the Switch. I feel like that's more likely. I'm good with either one. Probably more people would play Mario Golf, and I know you're a big fan, and we have a lot of friends that are big fans. So either one, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would get both of these.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right away. I am a huge Mario Golf fan. Those have always been, funny enough, my favorite Mario sports series, just because I like the variety in all the courses. I like all the different characters that are in it, and they just feel
Hmm.
fun as golf players to me. Yeah, I wrote a Mario Golf fan fiction in fourth grade, so
Oh,
yeah, I was into it. I was really into it.
nice.
So yeah, I would not mind another Mario Golf game.
Cool.
All right, my last one is one that I'm sure you want to, Rhythm Heaven.
Yes,
Just
yes,
I love Rhythm Heaven. I love beats and keeping up with them, and the songs are always so catchy and fun, and
yes.
yeah, that's a real adventure to go on. um, so yeah, those are our wish list items. Hopefully, all of them come true. Of course, they would. I don't see why not. Nintendo, you've heard it from us. All right, so let's go ahead and close out the show with our Haken's Islander Corner. And for those of you who don't know, every single week we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and read some of their answers here on the show for you. This week's question is, which is better, Bug Off or Fishing Tourney? So we are keeping this in line with our 100-day countdown challenge and asking them one of these questions from the challenge each week. So
Mhm.
this one, Sergio, we've already answered, so we'll just go back and forth on our Patreon answers. So
Yes.
would you mind starting?
Sure thing. And the first answer is by Riley G. And they say, fishing tournament for sure. I feel so much more successful catching fish as opposed to bugs. That's interesting. I mean, I guess in the tournament mode, you kind of feel more, like you said, Chewy, because you don't know what you're gonna get, and then once you get it, it's like a surprise to everyone participating.
Yeah, and I'll say there is that like tension whenever you throw your line out where
Yeah.
you really have to pay attention to the fish and see and really react to it, you
Yeah.
know? So I get that for sure. The thrill in the tournament, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So Cody Bear said, I've always enjoyed the fishing tourney more. I personally love fishing in Animal Crossing the most. I feel like I'm not very good at catching bugs. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you kind of have to approach bugs in a different way, but the fishing one, it's a repetitive action that I
Yeah.
feel makes it accessible. Like, I've complained about it earlier, but I do recognize that, like, you get a lot of practice with it, and it becomes something you can learn and improve at.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So Dragon Flame says, I would say the bug off can bug off.
So it sounds like they want fishing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Real Life Cloud said, I'm going to say the bug off, especially if the contest is for a specific type of bug/fish. When fishing, you can look for the right shadow size, but it's always hit or miss if you're getting the right fish. When bug catching, you can actually see what you're catching. Also, I really like Nat. That's a good reason to like it too. Nat is a very unique chameleon style character. So
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, the tournaments do come off very interesting when you're catching certain things too. So
Hmm.
I like that appeal to it.
Oh yes, definitely. So XMDB says the bug tourney is easy as you can usually go to the island or somewhere else to get a huge bug. I like the fishing tournament because I feel more proud catching fish as big fish are rare. And that's true. And then sometimes you just want a regular fish and you get trash. So yeah, that just keeps you fishing.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess you can kind of like cheese the bug offs by doing the island
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I get that for sure. So Winnie World said, I like bugs a lot, but I feel it's much easier to catch fish because you can easily see their shadows in the water, and bugs aren't always around. It leaves me much more successful in the end. So fishing tourney. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I guess there is a little bit more consistency with the fish for sure. Like, you can just walk around
Ah,
and
yeah.
eventually you'll run into one in the river. Whereas the bugs, you can just like be looking for some and not find them. There's a lot more ground that they cover
Yeah.
and no real set path to follow to find them.
Yeah, I remember it took forever, to me at least, to get the tarantula and the scorpion.
Yeah, they could pop up anywhere, and sometimes, like many times for me, they pop up next to a pond or river, and you accidentally scare them
Oh,
in, and then you're like, oh, it's dead. I
yeah.
definitely just killed this bug. Oh well.
Nice. So our last answer for this week is by Kakulu, and they say, I like bug off because you can get to hunt down what you want instead of hoping that it's a good fish that spawns on for you. Yeah, like we said, I think it's one of the biggest appeals of the bug off that you actually can see what you're after. So you can decide to skip where you're not, or if you want to catch them still you can.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I do like that aspect too. It kind of saves time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So this gets us to the end of the show. Sergio, it's so nice to be here with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me in your home. I always like looking at your walls of things, and I'm just like, I want to go through all of them and see all the things because you have a lot of special treats all throughout here.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We hope this was another fun episode for you. I guess I should do the outro stuff. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewyPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, have an episode dedicated to you, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewy Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money toward great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube? The comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. Which is better, the bug off or the fishing tourney? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a Wild production brought to you by Chewy, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.